So let's take a look at this problem. It says find the equation of the hyperbola described. And then it says graph. It says the center is at 0, 0, the focus is at 3, 0, and the vertex is at 1, 0. So all I'm going to do is graph all these values. And this will really help me to determine how this thing goes. So I'm going to draw that one in there first. That's 0, 0. And I'm going to call that C. And then the focus is at 3, 0. So that's going to be over here. And that's 3, 0. And that's going to be my F. That's my focus. And the vertex is at 1, 0. So I'm going to put that there. And I know right away this thing opens to the right and to the left because all of these points are going to be on the transverse axis. And I'll show you what that means. Here was the picture that we had for the first one here. Now notice this. This is the transverse axis right here. Okay, and I have my center there and my foci here. Okay, so that, and my vertex. So it tells you right away that we're actually, and they match here, see that? That we're going to have this thing opening left to right. Now thinking about this picture still, now I can also think about the symmetry because I have the vertex here and here. And that means I'm also going to have it on the other side because I have this symmetry across the center, and I have my center here. So we can see how that kind of works. And also the foci too. The focus here is going to be symmetric with the focus over here. So this one here is also going to end up being over here. So now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put all those values in now and label my points. So now we can kind of see how these two graphs correspond and how everything kind of matches up. Here they are. And I'm just kind of running through all of those points so you can actually see them very clearly. So that's going to be our basic setup here. Now from here I will be able to develop the equation too now because I have all the components I need to do that. So now our basic equation is y squared, let me write it this way. So it's x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared equals 1. So this is just my general setup, and I also know that, remember that the positive 1 is going to be the one I'm minusing. So b squared equals c squared minus a squared. So that's going to be the other thing we need here. And with these two pieces of information, we'll be able to get quite a bit of, we should be able to get our equation from here. All right. So now take a look at this picture here. My A is going to be from the center to the vertex. Okay, so our A is going to be 1. Okay, also, we have to think of B here too. But we also know C as well. And if you notice, our C is the same thing. It goes from the center all the way to the focus. And that's what our C is going to be. So in this one, this is our center, and it goes all the way to the focus. So I see that that's going to be 3. And with those two pieces of information, we can find out what B is now. So by plugging those in, I'm going to get b squared equals 9 minus 1, so b squared equals 8. So then b equals 2 square root 2. So that's what our b is. And now we actually have our equation. I should have kept it as square root of 8. And I'll just rewrite that again. And the reason why is because I'm going to end up squaring it for the equation anyways, and that's what I have to find. One of the things I have to find. So then my equation is going to be x squared over 1 squared minus y squared over 8 square root of 8 squared. I'll just write that down for the time being. And then I get x squared, I don't have to write over 1. I could just say x squared minus y squared over 8 equals 1. And that's our equation. So that's our part A in a sense that we had to find. Now let's graph this thing. So we have one more thing to consider as we're graphing this thing now, and that would be the asymptotes. So recall that for the hyperbolas, these asymptotes that we have to find, it's going to be my y, number in front of my y. Now it wouldn't be the 8, it would be the square root of 8 or the 2 root 2, and that's what's going to be on top, which is here. Okay, and that's going to be over the 1, okay, that we see on the bottom here. So that's my A and that's my B. Okay, and then I do the negative of that B over A. And that's what we're going to do now. Now I just wanted to show you that I actually put in the up 1. I mean, 2 root 2 is about 2.828, blah, blah, blah. So down here I'm going to have a negative 1. So that means I go up about 8.28, and then I go to the right 1. So that's where my rise over run is coming in, that B over A. So just wanted you to see that. And down here to get this one, that means I'm going to go down 2.8 and then to the left 1. So then that's going to get me the other dot, so I can get a really nice line here. And then for the negative, I just go in the other direction. So I go up 2.8, and then instead of going to the right, I'm going to go to the left, and that's where my negative is going to come from, because I'm going to the left. So something to keep in mind as we go through these. Now I'm going to graph the lines. So those are the asymptotes I drew in there now, using my fancy line tool. And now I can actually finish this graph, because I do realize now that it's going to come out wider than I expected. So it's going to do something like this. And again, remember, I kind of drew that bad. It's going to approach that line, remember, as I go out towards infinity. So kind of keep that in mind too, and try to draw it better than that. So there's our complete graph. I don't want to spend a lot of time just messing up and fixing it. So there it is, and that's what we'd have to draw in order to get full credit on one of these problems on a test or a quiz. So there you go. So remember what we needed to do. We needed to find the equation, which we did here. Okay, and then we needed to graph it, and that's what we see here. Okay, so we're done.